Hello, my people. Good day to you, good morning, good afternoon, good evening. Whatever time zone you're listening to this, thank you for tuning in every single day to listen to me on Daily Mind Shift. My name is Michael Ojola for Mindset Transformation Africa. And on today's episode, I want to talk about verbally and notably disagreeing with something, okay? It's about disagreement today. Let me anchor today's episode on this statement. If you don't verbally and notably disagree with something, then consider yourself in agreement with it. If you don't verbally and notably disagree with something, then consider yourself in agreement with it. That is today's thought that I believe is sharp, is confronting, and it is very necessary. Let that sit with you for a moment. See, we live in a time where silence is too often mistaken for wisdom, for diplomacy, or for maturity. Sometimes, silence is none of those things. It is simply consent. The truth is, by refusing to voice our disagreement, we hand over permission for that thing, whether it's an idea, an action, a behavior, or even an injustice, to grow, to persist, and to shape the world around us. Here's the thing. All right. Your silence doesn't just affect you, okay? It affects everyone who is influenced by your presence. It affects everyone who is influenced by your leadership. It affects everyone who is influenced by your example. See, there is an old saying that says, what you permit, you promote. Silence as consent. Think about that. What you permit, you promote. The very moment you allow something wrong to pass unchallenged, you've created space for it to thrive. When you watch a friend mistreat someone and you say nothing, you've chosen sides, all right? You've sided with the mistreatment. When unethical practices happen in your workplace and you stay quiet to protect your job, you've actually protected corruption. See, that's life. When you see manipulation happening in your circle and you shrink back thinking, well, it is not my business, you have silently voted yes. Every silence is a vote. It may not be loud, but it is counted. And in many cases, that quiet vote is what gives wrong the confidence to continue. See, there is a cost associated with silence. We need to talk about the cost of staying silent. On the surface, silence looks cheap, okay? It looks like the easy way out. You don't lose friends, you don't create awkward tension, you don't ruffle feathers. But in reality, silence is one of the most expensive decisions that you can make. Why? Because it costs you your integrity. When you withhold disagreement, you compromise the authenticity of your character. People can no longer trust that you will stand for what you believe. And over time, you even stop trusting yourself. Oh, it happens. Silence also costs you influence. Influence is not simply about how many people listen to you. It's about how much weight your words carry when you speak. But if you are silent when you should speak, don't be surprised when people stop listening when you finally decide to say something. And silence costs society. Every injustice, every corruption, every toxic culture, every abuse of power survives because enough people stayed silent when they had the chance to speak. The great tragedies of history were not built overnight. They were built brick by brick, silence by silence. Let's talk a little bit about why people stay silent. See, let's be real. It is not easy to speak up. All right, I've been burnt speaking up. So I know firsthand it's not easy to speak up. There are reasons why we choose silence. Number one, fear of conflict. Number two, fear of loss. Number three, fear of isolation. And number four, maybe comfort. Fear of conflict. Some of us hate confrontation so much that the thought of disagreeing makes us freeze in fear. The fear of loss of friends, loss of reputation, loss of opportunities. Oh, this is part of it. Fear of isolation. Standing alone feels unbearable. So we would rather blend in with the noise than risk standing out with the truth. Then comfort. Sometimes we are just too comfortable to disrupt the flow because staying silent pays us. It's easier to just scroll past, to nod along, to let it be. But here's the problem. Fear and comfort are poor foundations for a life of integrity. If your life choices are built around fear of what you might lose or comfort in what you already have, you will never step into the fullness of your purpose. It's important for you to understand that. See, let me just bring this home. When you don't speak up, against something wrong, you don't just avoid conflict. You create agreement. That is the principle. Agreement doesn't always need your words. Sometimes your silence is louder than words. Think about the last time you were in a group where someone said something offensive or disrespectful or blatantly false. Did you speak up? Or did you stay silent, hoping the moment would pass? Now, what happened next? Did someone assume that silence means support? No. Or probably. Because, see, in the absence of contradiction, people assume consensus. I don't want you to forget that. In the absence of contradiction, in the absence of opposing view, people assume consensus. So, here is the truth. Your silence speaks. It speaks loudly. It speaks, I'm okay with this. That's what it says to people. So I'm calling you to courage. I want to challenge you today. Find your voice. Find your voice. Speaking doesn't mean you have to shout. It doesn't mean you have to insult people. It doesn't mean you have to create drama. Speaking up means you are willing to plant your flag in the ground and make it where you stand. All right? Make it clear where you stand. Let them know what you stand for. Disagreement can be expressed respectfully. You don't need to burn bridges to build boundaries, okay? You don't need to destroy relationships to declare your truth. Courage doesn't always roar, all right? Sometimes it is a calm but firm statement that says, see, I don't agree with this. I cannot support this. That alone can shift the atmosphere. Now, here's where many people miss it. Disagreement does not have to equal disrespect. Too often, we think the only way to disagree is to attack. But no, true disagreement comes from clarity, not cruelty. When you disagree with someone, you are not attacking their humanity. You are simply rejecting an idea, an action, or a path that you know is not right. In fact, disagreement rooted in love is one of the highest forms of respect. You respect someone enough to tell them the truth. You love them enough not to let them walk into destruction without warning them. So, the next time you are tempted to stay silent because you don't want to hurt people's feelings, I want you to ask yourself, whose feelings are you really protecting? Theirs or yours? Sometimes silence is not compassion. It is selfishness disguised as kindness. And you need to see it for what it is. See, the real victory in speaking up is this. You live in alignment. Your words, when your words reflect your beliefs and your actions match your convictions, there is a peace that nothing else can give you. There is a peace there that nothing else can give you. Alignment means you no longer have to rehearse your excuses for being silent. You no longer have to justify your compromise. You no longer carry the burden of pretending. You stand, you speak, and you rest in the confidence that you have honored the truth. That is alignment. That is freedom. So go with today with these practical ways of speaking up. Number 1 is clarify your convictions. All right. 2, start small. Start small. 3, use calm language. Your tone is as important as your words. And number 4, separate people from their behavior. Focus on the action or the idea. And number 5, back up your words with actions. Don't just say you disagree. Live in a way that reflects your stand. Let me remind you this as we go today. Your voice matters. Silence is not neutral. It shapes outcomes. All right. Your agreement or disagreement contributes to the culture around you, the family culture, the work culture, the friendship culture, even the global culture. One voice saying, no, I don't support this, can ripple through an entire environment. And if enough voices rises together, change becomes inevitable. Never underestimate the influence of your voice, even if it feels small, even if you think no one